Hello, everybody. Welcome to our new interview. This time, we've been joined by Bizau Cristian, or as many of you know him as Biz. He's a fantastic card magician from Romania. He just did his lecture at our Butterfly Wonderland at Prague, and we talked about everything that you can think about and more: magic, cardistry, his relationship with the community, his view on social media and criticism, and much more. It was a very open and honest talk, and I think you're gonna like it. Enjoy. Viz, thank you very much for coming.
Happy to be here.
You just did a lecture yesterday at our shop in Wonderland. How did it go?
How did it go from whose point of view?
Your.
From my point of view.
Yeah.
Well, my point of view is split into two. So it's how I see the people are enjoying the show,
Yep.
and they seem like they were enjoying the show. I also talked with Andre how it was, so everybody was happy. Now, how I was on my side, very different, very different, because the main role of a magician is to make it look as if everything is planned.
Yep.
So if there's any mistakes that pop up, you don't react, you just fix it in a way that looks natural. So luckily my character can actually cover up for any mistakes. So if something shows up, people just think it's part of the show.
And did anything go wrong?
Yes. Oh yes.
Sounds like many things.
Two things which never went wrong. So somebody said something can go wrong, then it probably will go wrong. I never expected these two things to go wrong. But now I know. And what I love about mistakes is that next time when I prepare the deck, I will know those two things have to
Okay.
be perfect. And I love mistakes because of this.
What do you enjoy about lecturing?
What I enjoy about lecturing, I think it just feels mostly at home with me because I've been teaching magic ever since I started doing magic. By creating magic daily, I discover it, I perform it, and many times I would also teach it. No, not for the people on YouTube or just for myself. I have realized in time that when you're a creator, time will pass and you will forget your own ideas. So I go through my videos and I go, I have no idea how I did that. Many times I really don't know. So that's it. I can't figure it out anymore. So lecturing for me touches that how should I put it? I like performing for laymen, but I feel like when you're performing for magicians, it really takes. It's not that I'm trying to fool them; it's that I'm trying to use what they already know in order to fool them. Whereas laymen, they don't have all of this knowledge baggage with them, so I think it's actually a little bit easier to fool magicians because they overthink.
Yeah.
And I like that idea that I think it's easier. Maybe it's harder. Who knows? And that pushes me to perform in front of magicians. And a little bit of narcissism. I just think the ideas that I have to teach are fucking amazing. So I think if you're a sleight of hand artist, you're definitely gonna enjoy these. If you're not, you're gonna think they're really cool. And if you hate sleight of hand, then at least I know you hate some good sleight of hand.
You create a lot of stuff, a lot of moves, palms, changes, basically anything that comes to mind. Do you have like a set up creative process, or what is your goal when you want to create, or do you set yourself a goal when you go and create a new move?
Yes. When I create, period. I always have a project. People joke about the fact that I always have something going on in the background, and it's true. Ever since I was 13, I started 365 hours of magic. The idea was the time of each video would get added to the previous video. So if the first one's 15 seconds and the next one's 20 seconds, I have 35 seconds. And I did this up until 24 hours, I think I have until now, or 23. Somebody did the math and they said it would take me 94 years to finish the project. I don't know. Maybe it's gonna be my legacy to to the magic world. And when I die, people will try to complete the project. You know. And through these projects, basically, the one idea is to create something. Now, the idea is to create something good. I still go back to my old videos from when I was 14. There's a lot of, let's say, mediocre things. But what I can appreciate about this 14-year-old me is that I really was trying to come up with things that aren't reimaginings of things that already exist. And this is one thing that I try to avoid as much as possible. It, it's silly, but like I try to avoid reading books and trying to come up with my own version of the same thing, and especially old books, because it's very easy to read an old book because they had a completely different way of thinking, and now you can just adapt it to modern times and you have a new trick. And I dislike this for myself, but there's many magicians that do this and they come up with amazing magic. So thank you to them for doing it. What I like to do is just come up with something that is cool. Like that's my number one thing. If it's a palm, if it's a weird palm, but this is a fun palm to do, then I like it. If it's just weird or knacky, I don't do it at all. If it's a color change, it's got to be visual. If it's not visual, it's got to be practical. If it's not practical or visual, it's not a why are you doing it? So that is my main thing when I try to create. I need it to be entertaining in the hands of somebody that is learning it, and that first person is usually me.
You said you want to create something good. How do you classify good?
I have talked this with many magicians and asked them, how how do you know when something you do is good? Like, and the answer they give me is they just feel it. And I feel this is a muscle that we develop by watching a lot of good magic.
Okay.
At one point you can look at it and go, yeah, this is not good enough, or this is bad. I think this is bad. And I think it comes from performing to laymen, performing to family, and especially performing to hecklers as much as possible, and to people in magic, which is the last people you should perform these tricks when you're creating them. And if it comes to creating, how do I know if somebody hasn't already created this move? And I really don't have an answer for this, but when I create something, if it feels classic, if it feels, I have this move that I came up with. Let me prepare it for you. Okay, so it kind of goes like this: somebody touches a card from the deck.
Yeah.
Yep. So let's say they touch that one,
Yep.
the butterfly, right? And we take it and we place it over there, like that. See, there's not a lot of flashiness. Now it changes into the seven of hearts, right? It feels very classic. It feels like something that someone from the 80s would come up with, or from the 70s. And I've been showing it to magicians, and they directed me to Tommy Wonders.
Yep.
And I looked it up, and he had a different method for doing this. So, but it's very close to this. So I ended up with a variation, right? But if you come up with something, there you go. Take a card and it pops out. This is definitely not something anyone would create back from like the 2000s. So I know it has a bigger chance of being original. So if it's super visual, if it pops out, if it involves a little bit of more skill than usual, I know it has a chance of being original more than if it's something classic. So to answer your question, I think I gave too many answers, but I think you can. You got it. You got it.
What about sleight of hand appeals to you?
The challenging aspect. That's what I like the most. I like the fact that when I'm performing something to someone, they have no idea what they're seeing. For them, if I turn a card and I wave my hand and then I make it vanish in their hands, for them it might be just as amazing to do maybe even more amazing to do a double lift, change the card in their hands, right? But for me, the fact that I know I can pull that off and make it look super easy, so it doesn't get this reaction of, whoa, I think that took like a long time to get. Magicians know it takes a long time, but when I show it to laymen, they think it's a move everybody does in the magic world.
Yeah.
And I like this. I like being able to take a challenging move and make it look so easy that people looking at it, laymen, can go, I would love to be able to do that because it looks like something I could do.
How old are you?
I'm 30. I just turned 30 this year.
Um, because one of the first videos of you I saw was you performing all of the moves from the If an Octopus Could Palm book,
Yeah.
and that's like 14 years ago.
Yeah.
Um, How was that challenge at that time?
Honestly, it was pretty easy. I practiced every move before I filmed it. So I don't know if this is genetic or maybe it's my skill. But if I read a move and I sit down and I practice it for like 30 minutes, I can do it on camera, but I forget it instantly.
Yeah.
So this is the trade-off. I can do it on camera, but I'll never be able to do it afterwards. And I still do this many times with things that I have to perform just once. I like it. I like it's a nice skill to have. But then, so I work for a magic company, for a magic shop
Yeah.
in Bucharest, the Jucărie și Magie, and I've done many of their products. And I took a break of 1 year, and I came back, and they go, "Yeah, can you perform for this?" I'm like, "I have no idea how to do it." What do you mean? You filmed it? You're like, "Yeah, but I don't know." So there is a trade-off there. Back when I think that was in 2014 or 13, the video with If an Octopus Could Palm, or 11,
Yeah.
2011, that was it. So I was 16 at the time. I bought the book, I got the book. I think it was the first actual book I bought. And honestly, it changed my whole course in magic. Because, so psychologically, what happens when you expose yourself to a lot of information of the same type, you imagine you have a filter in your mind, right? So from the moment that I started reading the book, I filmed the videos. It took me a couple of days to do it. My whole mind was just filled with poems. And I was doing the magic project at the same time, the 365 hours of magic. So I had this filter, and all of my ideas were being filtered through, could I make a poem? Could this be a poem? And if you watch my 365, it's only poems for 2 weeks. I was reading the book and I was thinking, ooh, what if I make a poem from this? And it was honestly the book that got me into palming. Before that, I don't think I did 1 or 2 poems at all. So
That's a strange place to start.
it's the best place to start, honestly. I did do Marlowe's palms. So I tried
Okay.
Marlowe's, the snap change steals where you go into Tenkai,
Yeah.
or there's a lot of ones where you go on the table or you switch them from the table. A lot of Tenkai palms. But never thought, like the classic palm, okay. But I never thought that palming could be fun. And that's the book that showed me that palms can be fun. So shout out to Dan and Dave for making that.
Yeah. Uh, do you think that practicing difficult sleight of hand can be beneficial to those who don't use it?
I actually talk about this in my lecture as well. And I believe that it. So let's try and find an answer, right? They say, let's take cooking for example,
Yeah.
right? The more that I have a friend that's very passionate about cooking, and he says the deeper you go into cooking, the more you discover it's all about the basics.
Yeah.
It's fat, it's sugar, it's acid,
Yeah.
it's all of these different. How are you playing with these basic elements? And you can make a very complex dish, but then at the end of the day, how well can you make an omelet, right? But if you would only make omelets, would you be the best omelet maker in the world if you never actually tried all the complex dishes? And I think what happens when, I'm just guessing here because I'm not a chef, but when you're diving into cooking and you're learning all of these very complex things, when you go back to the basics, you can do them from a completely new perspective. And that's what it means to always go back to the basics, because as you keep going deeper and deeper into your art form, you're learning more, you're expanding your skill set, and then you have to reinforce your fundamentals. So with magic, from my point of view, it's the same thing. There's a lot of classic sleights. There's the top change, there's the classic pass, there's different forces, the dribble force, there's the classic force. So these are sleights that vary in difficulty, but people learn them because they're classics. Now, I believe that if you are to learn more difficult sleight of hand, when you go back to all of these classics, maybe it doesn't have to be sleight of hand classics. It can be even classics as in a Chicago opener, or it can be a triumph effect, that the Vernon's triumph effect, or cutting the aces. Like you learn difficult sleight of hand, you expand how much you can do with a deck of cards, and then you go back and you. It's not the fact that you're gonna use those slides. It's got nothing to do with that. It's got to do with the fact that your mindset has changed. You can you can see many more ways in which you can manipulate a deck of cards because now your ability to manipulate cards has become much bigger. And what happens when you master a difficult sleight, you become much more confident that you can do anything you want with an easier sleight. And this is the gain that I've had most from doing all of the projects over the years. It's not about the moves, it's about how I feel. And if I feel I can perform in front of very, very skilled magicians that have won FISM, it's not because I've performed 4,000 shows, it's because I have mastered many difficult sleights that many people don't care about. And at the end of the day, the question that we need to answer to ourselves as magicians is what do we gain our confidence from? Is it from performing to people? And if it is, then you got to perform a lot. Is it from creating magic? Then it is. You either got to create very, very good magic that sells a lot, or you create a lot of magic. So answer this question, and I think you're going to find an answer that will change the way that you view magic.
Yeah, that's an amazing point of view on that. Um, Maybe somebody feels inspired now to dive themselves into difficult sleight of hand. You've practicing it for many years now. Do you have any practice tips to start with difficult sleight of hand to make it maybe easier or more approachable for like a beginner or intermediate magician?
Yes, yes. What happens when we have a lot of free time is that we live under the impression that we have all of the time in the world to take a task and finish it. I think if you want, I believe that if you want to speed up the process of learning something, you have to have a time limit. So if you say, I want to be able to do this move in 1 hour, and you set a timer and you hit play and you see the clock going, you will be able, because you're forcing your whole mind to focus. But if you don't have the timer and you're just saying, oh, I think I want to learn this palm that Biz is doing, where he's palming the second card of the deck when he's waving his hand, then what's going to happen is 5 minutes or 10 minutes are going to pass by. And because you're really focusing and you're using up energy, you're going to feel like a lot of time has passed. So all of a sudden you're watching on you're looking something on your phone, maybe you're going to go and eat something. And then when you come back, you're like, yeah, maybe it's too difficult, you know. So even if you put a timer for 10 minutes, and I talk about this in the lecture, you the idea that you see the time running by, and it's not just the illusion that you have all of the time in the world, this will force you to hyper focus on what you're doing. And when you're focusing, your whole body is trying to learn as fast as possible. So that's the first advice that I would give to anybody is to find a way in which to make themselves focus. Be it a time limit. For some people, this is not something they feel comfortable with. It can be a day limit. I want to be able to film something today and post it on social media. So the idea of putting yourself out there, this pressure that you want to perform in front of people that are going to be watching your video is what pushes you to really master that move as soon as possible. If you don't like to appear on social media and you don't like to have timers either, then what I would suggest is to try and find a move that is very difficult. You know, something that is maybe a lateral shift from Ernest Eric, that is using your hand in a way that you've never tried before. Or maybe you want to try the diagonal palm shift, you know, and do it very, very perfect, like the 1 millimeter DPS from Akira Fuji, you know? And you're trying all of these moves which are very difficult, and then go to a move that is much easier. Maybe something like a pop where you pull the bottom card towards yourself, you have it in jog for like a centimeter, and then you throw the deck and you hit it with your finger, and the card pops out. Now, this is still sleight of hand, but it's much easier. So you start off with something very hard, you give it 5 minutes of your time, and then you go to the easier thing. So these are the advices that I believe would help people.
Thank you for sharing them. You like to challenge yourself. You talked about the 365-hour challenge, and you've recently done the 365-day magic challenge on your Instagram. What was your goal with that?
Very egoistical, 100% ego boosting thing. So Callan Morelli, which is an amazing creator, and I think everybody in the community knows him, he did the 365 days of magic. What he creates is completely different from what I create, because I only create card stuff,
Yeah.
and he creates illusions. So he did his project back in 2008, I think, and he did it for 172 days, and then Copperfield hired him, right? And then we had Rory Adams, another amazing creator. He's the owner of One Ahead, the creator and owner. And he did it for 240 days, I think. And then something happened, he stopped. So I realized there's no magician in the world that actually finished the project. And I wanted to be the first. That was literally the motivation behind starting it.
Yep.
And when I was doing the 365, I never had a 1 year strike where I never missed a day.
Okay.
So I wanted to have a 1 year challenge where I never miss a day. And I didn't miss a day. Now, is it comparing card magic to illusions is, you know, I really respect
Oh,
everything Callan creates. I had a talk with Callan and he said he just can't create sleight of hand. And I can't create his
yep.
stuff. So it's nice because if he would create sleight of hand, oof, I think it would be pretty crazy. And so that was my motivation for wanting to finish it. Why did I start it? I had a conversation with Antonio Bourgeois from Brazil, and he said, it's impossible. There's no way any magician is able to create sleight of hand magic every day for 1 year without cheating. So if they're doing it, they're probably gonna read something from a book and create something from that book or rehash it. And I go, mm-hmm, okay, okay. So yeah, thank you for that. And he goes, yeah, I just wanted to say that. Like, because I didn't tell him I wanted to do the project. I was just like, hey, what do you think about somebody doing this? It's like, I know it's bullshit. I go, okay. So I know I closed the call with him and I go, that motherfucker, he really doesn't believe it can be done. I took it personally because I wanted to do it.
Yeah, challenge accepted.
Yes. So those two things made me want to do it. And I'm happy. When I create, I never read anything. I never watch something. I never, well, just magic. Cardistry, very different. Very different. But with magic, I try and literally just sit down and systematically take it. Tricks. When I did 2 weeks of triumph effects. My God, it was so nice. My whole mind was like, oh, triumph effects. How do I create these? Or like oil and water. I did 18 days of oil and water. Oh my God, it was so nice. Probably I've had some of those were created by Tamariz or by other people.
Yep.
But there's a beauty in self-discovering things. The way that you evolve by discovering these things is something that nobody will be able to give you. And I took this from when I was 13 and I was reading Marlowe's Revolutionary Card Technique. Marlowe's writing is super dry. So, as a 13-year-old, let's be honest. So, what I would do is I would look at the images and I would try to recreate the move from the images. Most of the time, it's the same. But many times, I would create something else. And this is what I feel a book gives you the ability to skim through what you're reading, try and see if you got it, perform the move or the trick, and then actually read it. Because what we do when we're learning something, we're just turning on our monkey brain. And instead of actively doing something, we're just following steps. Okay, so I double lift this finger here and there. Like nothing is happening in your mind. It's vegetative. You're just following steps. But if you look at the images, your brain is really trying to think how that move works. So I like doing that when I am creating as well. I just like thinking. I think it's a nice activity.
How did you keep yourself motivated to complete the challenge? It must have been jarring at times, like filming yourself every day for a whole year.
Because I grew up filming myself every day, at this point, never feels. never ever feels like difficult outside of the cardistry project. The magic project feels very easy because I love discovering things. The beautiful thing about magic is you can really literally surprise yourself. I remember the first time when I managed to palm that second card, I was like, whoa. And then I kept doing it to myself, and it looks so good because I can't flash to myself either. Like,
Yeah.
I can't see myself palm the card. So that's what I love about magic is it gives you this boost when you're doing it. Obviously, sometimes I am super tired. It's 11 o'clock at night and I had a long day. And I remember I have a video and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. But it's not I forgot I don't want to do it. Is I forgot I wanted to sleep. So it's a very different reaction I have in my brain. But the cardistry project, because cardistry was just a challenge, I knew. So I love magic and I like cardistry. And I knew if I start doing the cardistry project, which has never been done by anybody, again, a very egoistical, no, egoistical, that's
Yeah.
it, right? Ego boosting thing. I really wanted to be the first. I like this idea of being the first. And I knew I could do it, but deep down I was like, oh man, I don't know if I want to do this. Not because I don't like cardistry, just because it's so much more difficult than magic. Because when you're doing cardistry, look, this is a magic effect, right? So I put a card there. What if I want to pop the card? Oh, I can use my finger and then I just let it go. Oh, okay, let's practice that. Oh, I just let it go. Okay. See, there's not a lot of stuff involved. But if you're trying to cut packets, you're trying to manipulate five things at the same time. And the difference from magic to cardistry is that cardistry, magic can be done slow. So even if I have a bad double lift, I can do it like this. And it will look as if I'm just elegant, right? But with cardistry, you can't go super slow. It looks like you're retarded. It's very different. Why are you doing it like that? It doesn't make sense. So with cardistry, you have to find flow. And before the project, I didn't have flow. I didn't understand the idea of flow. Why were some cardists such a pleasure to look at, while other cardists they were good, but something was missing, and I was in that area. I was looking at my own performances, and I was thinking something's not there, and it's flow. It's how when you're doing. It's one thing to go like this, like super fast, and another thing to try and know where to break. You know where to stop all of these things. So for the cardistry project, I think honestly, I thought 25 times to quit it. I hated it. I was like, I don't want to do this. I hate this. I hate the idea that I have to film something again that is mechanically so difficult and I have to make it look perfect because I knew I was gonna have to spend anywhere between 1 to 2 hours on it. Whereas magic, sometimes I spend 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Sometimes I spend maximum 20, 30. So yeah, this is the motivation. The motivation is there. It's called the chain. This answers are super long. I know. My teacher told me that I like hearing myself talk. So there you go. Shout out to my sixth grade teacher. It's called the chain schedule. After you do it for 7, 10 days, you have a chain, and it's very hard to break it. I mean, you don't want to break the chain,
Yeah.
and so you're motivated to keep doing it.
As we were filming this, you're about to end your cardistry challenge.
Yep.
What are some of your takeaways from the magic and the cardistry challenge? What did you learn about your skills, yourself? What did you learn?
Honestly, with magic, I have no idea how to reply that. I don't know. I just found out different ideas. Let me try and think with magic. I don't know. I've been doing this for so long that I think I'm not actively. Wow, this doesn't sound really good, does it? But honestly, creating magic for me is like meditating. I just sit there and I turn off all of my mind. I create something, I film it, and then I'm back in the real world. Like this is why I forget many of my ideas because I entered this space where it's just me and the idea. But I think what I did with the previous project at one point is very easy for me. It's much more at home, comfortable for me to create slides. So I really try to create tricks as well. Tricks very different because you have to it has to have a story, has to have a story. It has to have a magical moment. So probably my takeaway from that project was that I got a better grasp at what it means to create a magical trick. Maybe. I don't know. Um, from the cardistry project, I learned about flow. I learned about what it means to have an aesthetically good looking structure. I learned about how to film things to look more beautiful. I expanded how much I can do with my fingers, obviously, because I've been doing cardistry stuff daily. Whereas with magic, not really, not really, because you're always using your hands in sort of the same ways.
Yeah.
With cardistry, you can see there's a lot of takeaways from this, which is exactly why I wanted to do the project in the first place. I knew I was going to learn a lot. The same thing if I do 365 coin magic, nobody's done that. It's open, I'm just saying. So if I were to do that, I probably wouldn't try to create coin magic because I'm a dilettante at this point. But if I were to do one coin trick every day, I could probably learn so much in that 1 year. So I would say this is the things that I took from magic and from cardistry.
Talking about cardistry, you're heavily involved in the cardistry community. And one thing that stuck in my mind was your talk at the 2023 CardistryCon about the current state of the
Oh
of the
yeah,
community.
you listened to that.
Yeah,
I
it,
forgot.
it it was the most interesting talk there.
Thank you, thank you.
Uh, can you talk about this a little bit? And what is your view on cardistry at this point?
So I think something definitely shifted from that year. Don't know if it was my talk. It would be nice to think that, but I'm happy to see that it's been 2 years since then.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, Fontaine Cards has opened their shop again, and they started to like be back in the community. Then anyone worldwide started doing interviews. They started publishing their interviews in their blog, in their newsletters. Then Kevin Ho started doing interviews with a lot of the big names in the cardistry community. There's not a lot of tutorials going on still, which is a thing that I can't grasp my head around. I don't understand why these big companies aren't doing tutorials. Maybe because they're not making money. I get it. Um, but I'm happy to see that slowly, not even slowly. I feel like definitely a lot of people are doing stuff. Noel Heath, which is like somebody that I've known ever since I was small, opened up a Patreon, which is like mind blowing to me. The fact that even though he's behind a paywall, he's putting out all of his moves, which are probably going to get pirated and they're going to be spread all around the world, which I am very happy about because Noel's moves are insane.
Yeah.
So if people actually learn them, that's amazing. So the current state is much better than the past state of cardistry. What has happened meanwhile is that the card market has went down a lot
Yeah.
since 2 years ago, and we've definitely seen a decline in the number of decks that have been put out, which I am happy about. I'm not happy that the card market has went down. I'm happy that cardistry companies, and I'm only talking about cardistry here, not Magic. Cardistry companies aren't putting out 7 decks a year or like 10 decks a year, and they're focusing more on making something that matters instead of cashing in on people's desire to collect decks. You know, right now we're talking about just the state of cardistry, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I think cardistry right now is getting better. We're still missing videos. People aren't really making like big videos anymore, and they're not booming like the verts were booming in the past with like hundreds of thousands of views, or Noel with anyone was exploding. There was a documentary recently that got published by Max from Germany. If you guys want to see that, it's Why We Shuffle, or like it's got a name. It's
Yeah.
there. It's there. You can check it out. It's beautiful, beautifully made. It took him quite a long while to make. So if you're slowly looking at the community, everybody's doing things. The Cardistry got passed over to Tobias and Oliver, so they're organizing Cardistry together with Dan and Dave, but it's more them and less Dan and Dave. CXP Cardistry Experience is happening in Hamburg, which is very nice because people in Europe that can't go to like New York or Korea, they know they always have community they can go to. Yeah, I think what I would like more is to see cardists create physical media, which is why I created the Cardistry magazine, which 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 still baffles me. This is just my frustrations coming forward, that you can see it's a young community that just buys cards and they don't invest in reading material, because from their point of view they're not getting any secrets from there. So compared to a magician that buys a book to get the secrets and to support the creator, cardists literally just buy it to support and maybe read. So yeah, let's just say the magazines weren't really a commercial success, which is why I am rethinking right now if I'm gonna do another one. But every time I show it to cardists, they're like, "Wow, this is amazing! Everybody should buy it." And I'm thinking, yeah, you didn't buy it. I don't tell them this, but they didn't buy it.
Uh, the magazine is called The Flourish.
Yes.
Can you talk about more of its contents, what it's about?
The Flourish contains interviews with prominent figures in the cardistry community, interviews with one card printing factory, a company. We did one with Shuffle Ink, last one. It contains interviews with somebody from the skill toy area. For example, in the first issue, we had worry bricks. So they make these worry bricks, how
Yeah.
they called, that you can manipulate, and they're magnetic, and they were super successful with them. I'm very happy for them. Then we talked with Around Square, which makes an amazing impact on the whole skill toy community, and their philosophy is amazing. So I've tried to have the magazine slowly expand into the whole skill based art forms. And you have their kendama, and you have their Bengali, and you have all of these art forms. Because I realized there's not a magazine for them either. There's not a magazine for yo-yo.
Yeah.
There's not a magazine for them. So it contains this interviews, then it has articles written by people from the cardistry community for laymen or for cardists. It contains tutorials with one magician, always the magician's corner. Then it contains tutorials with one flourish, one cardist. And we print a personalized collectible playing card with the cardist that we feature inside. So if you buy the magazine, the first 50 or 100 people get the collectible playing card with the magazine. Okay. So this is what it contains at this point. And I just want to cite the inspiration for the magazine. I love gaming. I love playing games as well, but I love the whole gaming culture. Everything from arcade up until like console games right now. And the aesthetic of the magazine is heavily inspired by the magazines from the 80s and 90s about games.
Yeah.
So I would look at them and I would try and make the magazine as engaging visually as possible, which is why I think people really enjoy looking at it, because it looks beautiful. So I wanted to shout out that, the inspiration for it.
And I think I just saw that you also made it available as an ebook or like a PDF, right?
Yeah, people can get it on bizandfriends.com, all three together, all three magazines. And you can buy them. If you print them, it's not going to look like a book, because because all of the designs are on spreads, so they're on both pages. The PDF is made so you see both pages at the same time. This is how you enjoy the book.
Yeah. This kind of brings me to the question about design. I don't know if many people know that about you, but you also are quite into designing.
Yep.
You designed both of Luke Osland's
Yep.
books. You do layouts for all your books.
Yep.
How did you get into that?
Necessity. That's it. So I sucked at design. But somebody that knows me from when I was small, they know my design looked chaotic, right? It was in the period when I was very chaotic, and I was trying to be good, but I dropped out of high school. I never finished college. Those two sentences don't make sense, right? But I did come back and I finished high school, but um, I never studied art, never in my life. So, which I think is a blessing, honestly. And I was designing all of these books for myself, which they looked very amateurish, but it's okay because I was a kid. But then at one point, in 2015, I had Aviv Morali, who, if anybody in the cardistry community is listening, they know him. If not, Aviv is one of the biggest inspirations for beautiful cardistry. And he's written a book. He's written actually three. He's never published them. So he sends me the first book, which I still have, and I think I'm the only person, if not from a small circle of people that have this book. And he goes, Biz, I want you to design the book. And I designed the first chapter, and it was so bad. It was so bad. He didn't talk with me, I think, for like a year. He just goes, Biz, I don't think you understand. This book is unreadable. No, it's like so bad. And I was very cocky at the point. I just go, if you want the book designed, I do it my way. If you don't want it designed, just do it with somebody else, you know? Yeah, so sorry, Aviv, about that. Well, then I realized at that point that maybe I suck at this, so I shouldn't do it. So I didn't do it for a while. Then I did it again in 2017, and I still have the magazines. They look like somebody from art school in 8th grade would do. And then fast forward to 2022, I think, when I realized, hey, I want to make a magazine. I'm 27. It's time to take this seriously. And that was the breaking point for me where I went, okay, let's do research. Let's see what beautiful is, what ugly is, what I like, what I dislike. And I sat down, and that's how design was born in me. Just copy people that you like, but don't copy in a way that you're literally scanning the page and you're moving. Look at 2, 3 pages, take elements, and that's what I did with the first magazine. Was looking at so many magazines for gaming, and I was taking elements from all of them. I finished the first magazine, and then I'm doing one for Cartopia, and I didn't even look at I barely looked at other magazines, but I looked at some, and then I was like having ideas. And then on the third magazine, it was so much easier to know what I like. So my advice for anybody not studying design is copy like an artist, steal like an artist. Shout out to Austin Kleon for that. And slowly you will get to your own taste. And if anybody wants their book designed, they can contact me.
Where they can reach you?
bizandfriends.com. I have contact. Or at bizandfriends on Instagram.
You've created your own style in the design, but you also have a unique personality and style regarding to magic.
Yep.
Is the person we see on social media the real Biz, or is it a character?
Oh my God, I think in real life, if I'm not tired, I am more than you see on social media, honestly. But because I work too much sometimes and I don't eat when I have to, I am very chill. But if I eat and I am rested, I am very excited and I get very chaotic. But the person on social media is a very toned down version of me, sadly. But the person that you saw 10 years ago, much closer to much closer to me. But yeah, I'm not that person either right now because I've been through life and I've matured and I can't say most of the stuff that I've said back then. There's actually a picture of me. I don't know if you got this. If you ever caught that, I've taken it away. I did this marketing for a Fontaine deck. It was a black deck, right?
Yeah.
So I thought, I'm gonna get naked for this one and just hold the deck in front of my deck, right?
Yeah.
And take a photo of it and put it on Instagram. And it got 400 likes. And I'm thinking, and I wasn't even shaved. So just try and imagine that for a second. I am, what, 20, 21? Man, I look at that picture sometimes, I'm like, pretty ballsy. Get it? So, yeah, different me in the past. Definitely more cocky with the things that I would do. But is it a good type of cockiness? I don't know. I don't know. So right now I'm trying to learn from past me and try and bring that craziness into the act that I am polishing right now. And I hope I'm gonna get to something that is that nobody has ever seen. I know I will get there with a lot of work. I remember jamming with Mario Lopez back in 2017, and he goes, "Do remember this is a session of a lot of gin, okay?" So I was spouting out a lot of ideas, and we were playing Horopan's game. It's called the Horopan's game, and if you know it, you know it. If you don't, uh, you can contact Horopan, and he will explain. We're playing the game, and I'm spouting out all of these ideas for Mario, and he goes, "Biz, I really want to see you do this. I really want to see you produce these dildos and manipulate all of these sexual toys." And I'm like, "Yeah, one day, bro." Right? So my ideas have always been like, what is one thing that magicians will never do? Ooh, maybe I can do that, right? But take that craziness and now put it in an
Okay.
elegant way.
How do you stay true to yourself and not get affected by the people and community maybe telling you what you should do or maybe what you shouldn't do?
Are they saying something? Where?
Uh, the society is usually like that on social media, and mainly in magic, magicians have trouble finding their character or honing or owning their persona, how they
Yeah,
how they perform, how they treat themselves in front of the audience.
I think my luckiest um, thing. I am very lucky that I don't sit on social media.
Okay.
It's funny because I post a lot. I never scroll. If I follow you, I'll probably look at your stuff the moment I follow you, and then I'll never see your stuff again. And I have people come over to me and say, "Have you seen this? My I don't know my post." And I'm like, "Bro, I don't sit on social media." And because I don't sit on social media, it's a very good reason why I don't do this. Because you end up comparing yourself to these people that have been doing these things maybe for 40 years. And you go, why can't I do that? Because you haven't been doing it for 40 years. Or you're looking at some Asian that's 14 and you're like, I'm not 14. Yeah, bro, but he's probably doing it for 10 hours every day. You know, you have no idea. This is what I don't like about social media. We have no idea how much work goes. We're just looking at it and we're very superficially comparing ourselves to them and going, "Oh, I can't do that," and you feel like shit. And because I don't have this, and I barely read comments. Only when there's like a drama, like it happened recently in the magic community. Then I really do read a lot on it because I enjoy seeing what people are saying about different products.
And what was it about?
The atomic deck.
Okay.
Yeah, so there was a lot going on for the atomic deck, and I loved seeing both parties. Like, what are people saying, and what side they're taking, and why they're taking that. I like this.
Do you have your opinion on that?
Of the atomic
On
deck,
the atomic deck?
I haven't held it in my hands. I have opinions based on what I've read,
Okay.
and I don't like stating something before actually touching the product. So if I were to touch the product and then I can see what if what they've said is true, then I side with one side.
Yeah.
If what they said is false, then I can side with the other one, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, and that's the problem with social media. People usually judge before they can make a fair judgment.
Yep, yep. Well, that's what reviews are for, right?
Yeah.
And sadly, many times, even for the magic shop that I work with, or for Big Blind Media that I work with, anytime people just leave a review and they go, "Oh, it's bad." They don't say anything at all, and maybe you lose like 10 customers because somebody said it's bad, but you have no idea why they didn't like it. You guys have a magic shop. You
Yeah.
know how it is with some clients. Now, how do you stay true to yourself, and how do you find your own character in all of this chaos that internet is? What I've been doing ever since I was small, and I love doing this still, is I read biographies. I read the Wikipedia page of artists that I like. I I, I see some interviews with them, and I keep doing this even with in the new days. Like I look at biographies, maybe if it's something that I like. I look for 1 hour at their biopic, and I slowly, by looking at them, I try and understand why I like this person. Is it because they're successful? And if they are, why do I like they're successful? How did they win their success? So I think over the course of years, I have looked at people that impressed me. And by thinking why they impressed me, I have developed a sort of understanding of what success is to me. What is freedom to me? Because you can never be truly free, but you can feel free. And what are the constraints that I am okay with? This is how Andre portrayed the magic story. He said, I never saw a 9 to 5 job, so I created one that I loved.
Yeah.
And I really like this. What is the prison that you like living in? And how big is your prison? Prison is a very, very powerful word, but I feel like we all need to think about this. Because I have friends that work a 9 to 5 and they despise it. So why? Why would I sit 10 years and despise my whole activity for 8 hours? So as a magician, whenever I talk about doing something in your own way, everybody's thinking, okay, but what is my way, right? And we go back to copying. The same thing happens in design, the same thing happens in cooking, the same thing happens everywhere. You learn from others for a reason, but copying is not about learning, because when you're learning step by step everything. You're completely copying them. Stealing like an artist, which is this term coined by Austin Kleon, is you're looking at them and you're trying to mimic them. You're not trying to perform their tricks. You're performing a trick. It can be somebody else's trick. Let's say you're doing something from Di Vernon, but you want to do it in a way David Copperfield would do it. You want to do it in a way Donny Daortis would do it. You want to do it in a way Jan Frisch would do it. So you take somebody that has a very powerful character. It's very important because it has to be easily mimicable.
Yeah.
Or Tom Mullica, for example, or Mac King, or David Williamson. You see, this is very easily to mimic them. Or you go in the other spectrum, Max Maven, which has a very different character from all of the other ones. And you just mess around. The idea is to mess around. While you're in your house, you go, I'm Max Maven. Maybe you do a deep voice. And you're like, just think about this. Maybe I don't know. I don't know how Max Maven goes, but like I'm just thinking, right? And by mimicking them, do it for a couple of days. You are going to find something in that you're going to enjoy.
Yep.
And by finding your own style, you do it first at copying many people you take from them, right? But I believe, and this is something that Robin Williamson talks about, each one of us has a little bit of crazy in us. Like never give that up. Never let it go. And that crazy thing can sometimes be, when we're talking about magic, it can be, I think Donny Daortis never let it go. I think Juan Tamaris never let it go. This is why he did the violin thing and all of these small things, right? Some people can go really in it and develop a whole character around it. But I think if you know deep inside what your crazy factor is, it sounds like such a big thing. When we think crazy, we think chaotic, we think David Stone, we think, yelling or breaking or throwing. It's not about that. Crazy means doing something against the grain. Means if I'm doing an ambitious card and I snap my fingers and I say, there's only one way this can go, only one direction, and then I do a double lift and it's a guy from One Direction, which is something from Harapan Ong, that's crazy. It's tuning into your fun factor. and doing something that people wouldn't usually do.
You've talked about many magicians, many great magicians. Who has been your inspiration?
I grew up with Marlowe,
Yeah.
and I grew up with the whole gang from the Marlowe, David Solomon, Alan Ackerman, seeing Paul Harris perform. Never learned from Paul Harris. I just looked at him perform. All the LNL publishing tapes,
Yep.
that you can find on certain now I don't think they exist, Daily Motion websites or like stuff like this.
Yeah, I think they're mostly taken down.
Yeah. Now because I grew up in an era where the internet wasn't filtered,
Yeah.
and now it's much better filtered. I had the luck of being able to have access to some tapes that people were putting up online before they were copyrighted, striked down. So I grew up with this material of very old school style of performing tricks like Daryl, you know, and I I discovered at one point David Stone, and it blew my mind. I actually I never learned anything from him, but I think I looked at a couple of trailers for his DVDs and I instantly realized this is the type of stuff I love, where you feel unhinged. So nowadays, my current inspirations nowadays, I really like what Mario's doing. Whenever I want to just feel a little bit more inspired of life, I look at Mario Lopez and I go, yeah, man, that's what magic is, right? Besides that, I actually don't think, because I don't really look at magicians perform, which is a shame. Sometimes somebody would say something about like, "Oh, have you seen Paul Daniels?" And I'm like, "No, I'm sorry, never." And they show me, and I'm like, "Whoa!" And I like that. I like being able to still be surprised, even after 18 years of doing magic. And I learned the Svengali deck after 12 years of doing magic. You know, like I never knew strippers, Bengali, all of these gaff decks. I grew up just with normal decks. And I thought it was so nice to learn all of these basic tricks at a point where my personality and character was already developed enough so that I can adapt the deck to myself. Not that I would adapt to the deck,
Okay.
you know.
You said you've been doing magic for 18 years. That's
Yep.
a long time.
Is it?
Uh,
Mm,
Compared to your age, it's more than half your life.
yeah,
So
that's true.
I would say that's a long time.
That's true.
There are, I guess, million things you like about magic. What you don't like about magic?
I think the community,
Why?
honestly. Man, I love the community, but this is the thing that I don't like.
Yeah.
I don't like the from it. Besides this, why would I dislike anything like in regarding the art form? This amazing art form that we have, it's insane. But sometimes I dislike the community at this point. It's becoming more and more business, more and more products,
Okay.
just churning out products for money, trailers that mislead, people that have been paid to defend products that suck, um, people that are paid on Magic Cafe to say stuff about products that they've never seen themselves. Um, Magicians that never jam when they're in front of each other due to egoistical reasons. Magicians that never share secrets or even show their performances, but they talk about it in jamming sessions. Magicians that talk about hating cards so they don't jam when you're next to them. Yeah, yeah, a lot to dislike, but there's a lot to like as well. I'm just
Yeah.
replying to the question why I dislike it. Uh,
Yeah, I asked that question because people usually talk about what they like about the art form they're in, but there are always things you don't like. So that's why I asked, because I wanted to explore that.
it's the same thing why I don't like in the cardistry community as well. Somebody said I interviewed them back in 2017, and they said the community is a big teddy bear. Anything that you say against it, you'll be shunned, and you will be blocked, or you will be, why are you saying that? You're a hater. And I did this in Magic, right? So I had the channel, I had all of my videos on my Instagram back in 2021 or 2020 before the pandemic. So people could see my skill. And what I was doing, I was going on people's videos and I was critiquing it. But not like some magicians, some magician. I'm not trying to hate on them to say you suck
Yeah.
or like this is bad. I was going, hey, I think this could be improved. You're flashing here, or this is unnatural because, and I got shadow banned for a month after 2 days of doing this. So I would comment on 15 videos a day, 20, and those people were blocking or reporting me because I was critiquing their performance.
Even though it was a constructive criticism.
Yep. I don't see anything in hating and throwing like, this sucks, man. Like, whatever. Sometimes I want to say that because it really sucks. It really sucks.
But you don't.
But why does it suck?
Yeah.
Right? And if the person is doing magic, if you really have something constructive to say it. If you think it sucks because of a reason, say why does it suck, and that can make them become a better performer. So this is why I hate about the community, but this is long lasting. Ever since social media,
Yeah.
people do not provide constructive criticism. It's always buzz commenting. It's called buzzwords. You know this?
Yeah.
Yeah. You go. Either you go emoji, which is whatever, or you go amazing, or you go something that makes no sense, like I would eat this with jam, or I don't know, something that makes no sense, but you're obviously saying that you like it. It's nice. I get those comments, and I still smile and whatever. But I would love it if a magician came on my video and said, yo, Biz, I really think you're using your pinky finger too much. Or like, I think, you're doing this and this. Like, build each other up in one way.
So if somebody comes to your Instagram and gives you these tips, will you ban them?
Or hopefully not. If I would, then I'm definitely a hypocrite, bipolar hypocrite. Which it would be sad to discover about myself, this, honestly. I have had people, not critiquing, but when was it? I think these are the only moments. The only moments when I am swayed by not speaking up is that if I would when I post a story or something, you can see people reacting to the story, sending me messages that it's bad that I'm doing this, and it because I'm sadly a people pleaser. I always think twice before posting something. Like, is this gonna rub people the wrong way? And I hate this. I honestly hate this. I would like to give less of a fuck about stuff. So yeah, this is mostly regarding the cardistry community, which has a lot of my frustrations in it. But the magic community is such a big community that sometimes it's kind of hard to expect it to behave more like an intimate community. So you can find probably these things in smaller communities, in magic clubs, in cities and so on. What I dislike about communities, and I have noticed this is predominant in many countries. Maybe I'm overdoing it, but it is in France. It is in Romania. I don't know if it's here. I don't know if it's in Germany or other places, but no, I just know in France and Romania. So let's just talk about France and Romania, okay? If there are two clubs, they will not talk with each other.
Really?
Yeah, because you're in Club A and I'm in Club B. If there's two magic shops, everybody that buys from magic shop A will not talk with magic shop B people. They will hate on each other. This happens in Romania many times. Like, you see what I'm talking about, critiquing?
Yeah.
One is critiquing, another thing is throwing hate. Another thing is, I did a video on YouTube where I explained how to use the thumb tip, and this other magic shop took my video, put it on the Magicians Forum in Romania, which is the only forum for magicians, which is on Facebook, and they went, do you think it's okay for Biz to be talking about one of the most essential things? And we were like, are you really telling me that thumb tip is gonna put you out of work? Do you think at this point people don't know what a thumb tip is? And I still perform the thumb tip to people and they have no idea what's going on, obviously. They don't think about the thumb tip. And I'm going to quote Alex Pandrea here, who was heavily critiqued for putting up tutorials on his channel. He said, if people are interested in magic, they're going to find magic tutorials.
Yeah.
People not interested in magic will never find those videos. So you still have a gigantic community of people to watch magic. So this is what I dislike, is that communities, instead of growing a big community, they will attack each other and split up into smaller groups and not talk with each other, sadly. But very human at the same time. It's how we are as humans.
Why do you think is that they do not want to cooperate or work with each other?
I think there can be many reasons why. It can be jealousy from one side or the other, based on skill level, based on success, based on whatever it is. There always has to be a sort of um, negative feeling attached to this. Why would I, if I like you, why would I not talk with you? Or like, why would we not
No.
collaborate on things together? Um, I had another magician. So I work with Jucăriș Magie, and they're amazing people if you get to know them. They're amazing people, but they're keeping it to themselves. They have a small circle of friends, but they remind me a lot of how you guys do your magic shop. It's you can see the passion. It's not a business. It's passion, but you also need to make money.
Yeah.
Right. And then there's another magician in Romania, very good magician, and every time he meets my bosses, he goes, "I don't work with you guys because you guys are too business." And it's like, bro, you don't even know them. So what happens, I think, is people have these preconceptions that they rely on in order to take decisions. Again, it's very human. I like humanity because it's flawed. The more we try to be perfect, I think the more we're going towards trying to be soulless. I think it's very essential. All of these negative emotions are just as essential as all of the positive feelings that we have. The reason why, because you have the book from Alex Hansford. Alex makes amazing books, and I was very jealous of his way of portraying through minimalism beauty in such a nice way. And I bought 3 of his books, and I read them. I read Often Rarely That Simple because I thought it was a really nice book, and I love his magic, of very good creator and performer. And when I was doing the first magazine, I really tuned into that. I was like, why am I jealous of this? Because it's good. But why am I jealous? It's because I think I can do better. Okay, can I do better? And if I can, then I should really do my best at doing that. And I don't think if you put the magazine next to the book, it's got nothing to do one with one another. So I wasn't trying to copy his style and do it better than him, but I was tuning into this feeling that I had in order to understand myself and to make a product that is beautiful. And I even met Alex and I told him, "Hey, I was really jealous of your book and that's why I did it." And he went, "What?" And he was like, "Bro, I don't think it's okay." I'm not paraphrasing here, but that's what I remember. He said, "I don't think it's okay to say you're jealous." Right? Because it's like, why? I was envious. I was jealous. I think it's okay. As long as it doesn't own me. Because people can really become overwhelmed by envy.
Yeah.
And then it guides all of your decisions. Right? And what's that word? You become like a fox. You're envy, so you're trying to really mess the other person. But if I feel envy and I go, ooh, why am I feeling that? And then I understand it, then I can learn from it. And it's the same thing with mistakes in magic, it's the same thing with anything that is negative. You learn from it, it's not negative anymore,
Yeah. Let's end on a positive note. You said you have always something in the works. What do you have in the works?
Right now?
What can we expect?
Let's see. Name any card. Go.
7 of Hearts.
7 of Hearts. 3 of Spades. But what if we use the 3 of Spades? Okay. What if we use the 3 of Spades to find, not here, not here, but one, two, three cards down. Okay, it was a good try. Let's say it was a good try.
It's in the works.
It's in the works. Where was it? Oh man. Anyway, I like this game, but I wanted to test it. Well, right now I'm working on my act. That's what I'm working on.
A full show?
Yes,
Or
I am
was it
working on a full 1 hour show.
amazing? Close-up show, I
Yes.
suppose.
The one that so you can have people looking if there's a
Yeah.
camera, but it is a close-up show.
Yeah.
Like parlor, micro magic, just cards.
Okay.
I think. So no products.
When do you think the act will be ready?
Is it ever ready?
Well, at some point
Well, I have to
you'll
perform
try
it in
Yeah.
Barcelona
Okay.
next month. It's got to be ready by then.
And how's the progress?
I like it. I like it. It combines. So you saw the show, right? Oh, you
No,
didn't see
I
the show
didn't see the
yesterday.
show. No.
Okay, so the first piece is 15 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. And it ends with a lot of blank cards on the table. And the guy just like panics and goes out, right? And what I want is this recursive characters coming in and out. So the next one is going to come in and is going to be wearing a mask, a very, very dark mask, and with a long coat. And they're going to use the deck, the white deck of cards, right? And then they leave that deck in a new form. And then they leave and somebody else comes. And I like this idea of chaos represented by different characters because we do live in a time of dopamine hits. So I noticed at the lecture, which is normal, but it's tiring to sit down and watch and listen for like 1 hour, 2 hours constantly. And I really wanted to have an act where people don't know what's going to happen next, you know. So that's what the act is going to be. And I have a good idea of what I want it to look like, what I want people to feel. I'm still working on exactly what the magic tricks are inside.
Okay. And where will you perform it? Outside of Barcelona, you mentioned. Will you have like a regular show in Romania or will you travel with that?
Definitely not in Romania.
Okay.
That's the thing, because probably at one point, here's the thing with Romania. Romanian people, let's say you're a prodigy, you are the best mathematician in the world, but Romanians will go, bullshit. I don't believe you. And if you go to math, I'm just
Yep.
giving an example, math, right? I'm not saying this happened, but I believe it must have happened. If you go to certain clubs and you show them how good you are, if you're lucky, you can have somebody take you, mentor you, and take you abroad, right? But what I feel happens in the Romanian community is if you're not famous outside of Romania, they don't care about it in Romania at all.
Interesting.
So my plan is to become famous outside of Romania. So when I go back, it makes sense. I can make a show because people will go, "Oh, this guy is a world champion," or "Oh, this guy, etc., etc., has performed in Las Vegas, has performed all over the world." It sounds different than nothing. This guy is good.
Champion, do you have any ambitions for FISM or
Yes.
any other competition?
Yes. I want to participate in the next one.
Okay.
And Tamas from
Badar.
Badar is participating in the same section as I am. And I met him. Now he talked to me. He saw my act. He told me a bit about his act. And then there's another guy, Tibor, who knows how to use any deck as a stripper deck.
Yeah, he's
You know him.
he's also from Hungary, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So both of them are participating in the same section. And I like this because when I feel competition, and that is real competition, especially Tamas, and especially Tibor, both of them have like so different takes on magic.
So it will be a competition within a competition.
Oh yeah, I like this. I like this because Tamas goes, and maybe he did it because he maybe maybe we're like, I'm definitely winning, right? He goes, oh, it's not a competition. I go, bro, it's a fucking competition. What do you mean? There can only be one winner. So I like it. I like the fact that there are people I know that are participating, and Tamas is a god, so I really have to step up my act. And yeah, the plan is to take first top three. Honestly,
Okay.
that is
So
the plan.
so that's your main goal.
Yeah.
Finish top 3 or beating Tamash.
No, not at all, not at all, not at all. If I were to land second place and Tamas is first, completely happy.
Okay.
Completely happy. If the act is better than mine, not because of we do skill based stuff, then it should definitely win. And if it's somebody I know, I'm 100 times more happy, right? If I go, and this is the way that I've been raised and educated. If I win, uh, let's say second place, and Tamas goes third, I won't feel happy about it. I will honestly feel bad. I will go to him and I almost want to go like, man, I'm really sorry, man. I didn't want to be in front of you, like something like that, because that's how I was educated
Yeah.
in my family. And apparently, this is a Japanese thing. When they play Go, you know the game they play.
Yeah.
It's you have to put pieces and win territory and conquer the other person's pieces. If you win, you have to look sad, and if you lose, you have to smile. This is their rule. So whenever you see somebody end the game and they go, they lost. That's the thing. And it's a way of paying respects to the other person.
Okay.
You're not supposed to smile, you're not supposed to laugh, you're not supposed to do anything. Don't show like happiness, right? So yeah, I'm very curious how this act is gonna be like in 2 years from now.
Excited to see that.
Me
We're
too.
gonna wish you good luck
Thank you.
at the rest of your lecture tour, at everything you do, and mainly at the competition.
And you're gonna be looking out for the butterfly.
Yeah. Always.
Always.
Thank you very much, Bez.
Thank you, Pavel. A pleasure. Do you want me to teach something on the?
If you want to do some tips, maybe not like a full tutorial, we can do that. Yeah.
Tips. What about teaching this? So, here is a method for taking a card that the spectator has selected, placing it in the center, just like this, squaring it up with one hand if you want. And in the process of doing that, you can cut exactly at it and control it to the bottom. If you want, you can place the card in. You can show it to them as well. Over here, you square it up completely. And in the process of doing that, you can cut and control it to the top. So these two ways are my solution to squaring a card up in a very, very clean way, by doing that. Because I hated this, the one that we all do. So the way that you do this, when you insert it inside, you're going to use your index finger, which is covered by the card, to just push this deck inwards, this packet from underneath the two. So this is a very exaggerated way of seeing it. Then I can close this card, and over here I can contact the break with my thumb, and now if I cut it, it's going to be on the bottom. That was the card, right? I think I mistook it. So you push, you square, you get your pinky break, you cut it to the bottom, and it's over there. Now, with practice, you're going to be able to just push the deck so little that it's barely even visible. You see, it's a millimeter or two. And then I can square it, I can take my pinky break, and I have full control over it. And I perform this not from this position, because if you perform it from this position, you can slightly see that the deck is not squared up. So I do this for stand up when people are looking at the deck from above. I place the card. At this point, I pushed the deck already. I can square it up, and then I can cut directly at it. So it's a very simple way in which you can keep track of the playing card. And if you want to control it to the top, when I show it to the spectator over here, I'm basically just moving this packet lower a little bit. I can square it up, and now I'm going to have this break in front. So when I square it up, I come down, and I'm going to get my thumb break just by picking up that packet from the back with the thumb, and I can cut it, and the card is on top. Obviously, you should never perform the cut exactly at the moment that you square the card. You should always leave it in there, talk with the spectator, do your patter. Maybe you're even spreading like this. Maybe you can take the deck and shuffle it, and in the process of shuffling it, you're actually controlling the card. So never, never, ever square the card and cut directly. It's too obvious. There you go, something simple that you can practice that will teach you about getting a pinky break, pulling on that in jog that you have inside, and being able to get comfortable with your pinky doing all of that work.